I'd been gone for nearly a year. College life had swallowed me whole. Constant deadlines, cramped dorm rooms, late-night study sessions where caffeine replaced sleep. When the semester ended, I was desperate for fresh air, home-cooked meals, and the quiet familiarity of my hometown. My parents' house sits right where the suburbs fade into a wooded area. Behind the backyard fence is an old dirt trail, one that's been there since before I was born. It snakes through the trees for a couple of miles before breaking into the creek that marks the edge of county property. Growing up, it was my spot, my escape. The first few days back home were uneventful. Family dinners, lazy mornings, and hearing about my sister's boy drama. But on the fourth night, after dinner, I felt that familiar pull to the trail. The sun had dipped just below the horizon, leaving a bruised purple sky. I grabbed a flashlight, even though I knew the path by heart. The air was thick with summer heat, and cicadas droned in the distance. My shoes crunched over loose dirt and scattered leaves. For the first 10 minutes, everything felt the same as I remembered. The tall oaks, the curve in the path near the blackberry bushes. Then I saw the first one, a carving in the trunk of a tree. It was a rough circle with jagged lines shooting out from it, like a crude sun. The edges were pale, fresh, not the weathered kind you see from bored kids marking their initials. I looked closer. The cuts were deep, deliberate. I brushed it off as some teenagers trying to be edgy, and kept walking. But then I saw another, and another. Each marking was about 50 feet apart, all facing the trail, leading deeper into the woods. My pace slowed. There was something off about the air now. The cicadas seemed quieter. My footsteps sounded too loud. The trees crowded in, blocking more of the fading light. That's when I saw the clearing. It was small, maybe 20 feet across, the ground littered with dry leaves and trash, an empty liquor bottle, and on the far side of the clearing, out in the open, was a tent. A nice small tent, just chilling in the middle of the woods for anyone to see. I don't know why I went closer. It was zipped closed, but you could see through the screen at the top. And inside was a sleeping bag, flattened from use. On the ground next to the tent was a spiral-bound notebook. The cover was warped from moisture. I picked it up and flipped it open. Every page was the same, that same jagged circle symbol, drawn over and over again, hundreds of times. No words, no names, just that symbol. To make matters worse, I heard the sound of sticks breaking and leaves crunching somewhere around me. I froze. My flashlight beam swayed slightly in my trembling hand. The sound had come from the tree line. I turned slowly, scanning between the trunks. I didn't see anything. I laid the notebook back where it was, trying to make as little noise as possible. I slowly backed away from the tent, trying not to trip over anything. I could feel my breathing getting louder, more footsteps, slow, deliberate, crunching on the dry leaves. Whoever it was wanted me to know they were there, but didn't want me to see them. I broke into a full sprint, the beam of my flashlight bouncing wildly. My chest burned by the time I burst out into the backyard. I had never been so happy to see the light on the back porch. The next morning, at the risk of sounding crazy, I told my dad about it. He thought I was joking at first, but I finally convinced him to go back there with me and check it out. The carvings were still there, each one identical, leading us to the clearing, but everything was gone, like it had never been there. All that remained were the symbols on the trees. Still to this day, he thinks I made it up and carved those symbols into the trees as a prank or something, but it wasn't me. I was 17 that summer, just a week away from starting my senior year. The air still had that heavy August warmth, the kind that clung to your skin and made the nights feel endless. It was a Saturday evening when Tyler texted me, "Bonfire at the old Clark property. Bring your own bottle." The Clark place had been abandoned for as long as I could remember, but the clearing beside the cornfield made it perfect for parties. We'd done it dozens of times. Someone would haul out pallets and scrap wood. Someone else would bring speakers. And before long, you'd have a ring of 20 or 30 people laughing, dancing to music, and forgetting all their problems for a few hours. By the time I got there, the fire was already roaring, sparks popping and drifting up into the black sky, swallowed by the shadows of the corn towering around us. The stalks were high that year, well above our heads, dense enough that you couldn't see more than a few feet in. We passed drinks around, told stories, the firelight painting everyone in flickering orange. It felt safe, like it always did, just friends killing the last hours of summer. Out of the corner of my eye, something caught my attention. I looked over and saw a man standing just outside of the corn stalks. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Between two rows of corn, maybe 30 feet away, he stood there. No flashlight, no phone light, no movement, just standing there, watching us. He wasn't dressed like any farmer I'd ever seen. Dark jeans, a button-up shirt, wearing a hat. I nudged Tyler and whispered, "Do you know that guy?" Tyler followed my gaze, then frowned. Never seen him before. A couple of people noticed us staring and turned to look, but the man didn't flinch, didn't wave, didn't even blink. He just kept his eyes fixed on the fire, or maybe on us. The chatter died down. All you could hear was the crackle of burning wood and the rustle of dry leaves in the wind. The longer he stood there, the more wrong it felt. Finally, one of the guys said, "Hey, you lost or something?" The man tilted his head slightly, like he was thinking about answering, but he didn't. He turned and stepped backward into the corn. We watched him until we couldn't see him anymore. We waited, expecting him to come out on the other side of the clearing or circle back toward the road, but he didn't. The party never really recovered after that. People kept glancing at the corn, and the fire didn't feel warm anymore. It felt like a spotlight, making us visible to whatever else might be out there. A few of us decided to leave early. On the way to my car, I kept glancing over my shoulder at the rows of corn swaying gently in the night breeze. I didn't see him again. Not then, anyway. A week later, on the first day of school, I was walking to my first class when I passed by a bulletin board in the hallway. Among the flyers and announcements was a missing person poster. It was the man from the cornfield, and he had been missing for over a month. This happened about 10 years ago, but I can still picture it like it happened yesterday. I'd been out at a small bar a couple of towns over, had a few drinks and random conversations, and decided to take the back roads home. It was a warm summer night, close to midnight, the kind where the air feels thick and the insects are so loud you can hear them through your closed windows. I was halfway home when my headlights lit up something in the road ahead. A little girl. She couldn't have been more than 9 years old. She was standing perfectly still, facing away from me, wearing a long white dress that looked like something from the 1960s. She was tossing something small into the air and catching it over and over like she was playing a game. I slowed the car to a crawl, my tires crunching on the gravel. I rolled my window down a few inches and called out, "Hey, are you okay?" No response. She didn't even turn her head. There were no houses anywhere nearby, no driveways, no parked cars, just trees and open fields of grass. As I got closer, my headlights shifted, and she finally turned her head slightly. Not enough for me to see her face fully, but enough for me to know she heard me. I turned and grabbed my phone to call for help, and when I looked back, she was gone. Not running away, gone. I stopped the car, got out, and scanned the road with my phone flashlight. Nothing. The next day, I was talking to a buddy and mentioned what I saw. He didn't laugh. He didn't say I was imagining things. He just said there's an old story around here about a little girl who was killed by a car on that stretch of road, late at night, wearing a white dress, and sometimes people see her playing in the road.